word saying, I am Yahweh Elohim, who has brought you out of Egypt's praying, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of that, which is in the heavens above, which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them or serve them. For I am Yahweh Elohim, I am the judge Dowell, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing love and commitment unto the thousands of those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Yahweh Elohim to naught, but Yahweh Elohim will punish and break his name to naught. Remember the Shabbat to set it apart. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7 days is Sabbath of Yahweh Elohim. And if you do not do your work, you, or your son, or your daughter, or your male slave, nor your female slave, nor your cattle, nor your stranger within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and the rest of the 7th day. Therefore Yahweh bless the Sabbath day to set it apart. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days may go on upon the soil which Yahweh Elohim has given you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor, you do not covet your neighbor's house, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male slave or his female slave, nor his ox or his donkey, nor whatever belongs to your neighbor.
Hallelujah. Most High, we bless your holy name. We give you thanks, Father God, for another beautiful Shabbat, Father. We thank you that our family is here, Father. We thank you. We ask you, Father, today that brings forth this word, Father, that it be edifying to the whole body that's here, Father, as we record it, and we put it out that all of Israel can see it as well, Father, be edifying to them. We thank you again for another beautiful Sabbath, the first time in this fellowship hall, Father, together. In the mighty name of Jesus. Hallelujah.
Bless y'all. Well, now we hear me, right? Everybody good? Everybody going well? So we got this side and that side, right? Everybody likes this side, right? We're almost like the Jews now. They almost all the females over here, the males over there. Hallelujah. Anyway, glad to be here. I was just telling Brother Daniel, this is the same way that we had fellowship down there in Roots in place. First service and stuff like this, so they all make us a tradition. All right, so everybody's always interested in spiritual warfare, correct? Yes. And of course, you can never be too redundant when going over this because there's always something said, something needed to be said that's actually going to help us to be stronger in our minds, our souls, our body, spirits, to be able to combat, be able to fight with the enemy. And you do know, everybody knows we're in a spiritual war, right? Yes. Some people will be back there reading too. Everybody needs to read? Okay, let's go ahead and roll on here, and we'll just roll on the slides and we'll go on with that, okay? I don't have a little pointer here, so it's a little awkward. Okay? So just bear with me, all right? The war we face is in our minds. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, you really probably should become really conscious, a hell of a lot conscious when you come this way about the communication that's going on in your mind, the thoughts. I mean, we lived all our lives, we pretty much didn't even, well, if we did pay attention, they pretty much led us. Before conversion, our thoughts pretty much led us. When y'all say that, you pretty much did whatever came into your mind, and then sometimes if it was really outlandish, you only kind of ignored it, but you really didn't put too much emphasis on it. But now when you hear, you're putting a lot of emphasis on it. And now you're in this walking way, you must put emphasis on it, because if you don't, then the enemy is going to be the one controlling you, manipulating you, dominating you, causing all kinds of confusion and everything. So the battlefield we know there is definitely in the mind. But we must focus on our thoughts or the communication. Come on. That comes through our minds. One reason why many are so defeated is because we allow thoughts to come into our minds and we do nothing about them. Now, the Bible says you're supposed to capture every thought, bring every thought into captivity to the obedience of the Messiah. Is that right? Yes. And if you don't become proactive and do that, then the thoughts that you don't capture later on will capture you. And most and they leave pride. I hate to call it an opportunity. It's not even really an opportunity. They will get you at the wrong time. Take you far, sometimes embarrass you, or sway you, persuade you to do something, which if you would have caught that thought early on, caught it at the gate, and you could have took control of it, and then avoided a lot of heartache, trouble, and problems. Come on. What is the voice, and what is the meaning or the purpose of a particular voice? Has anybody ever heard any thoughts in your mind, or any type of communication mind that it didn't sound like you? Did y'all hear thoughts in your mind, but the voice wasn't you? For real? So y'all heard voices speaking like this. Go over there and get that shot. Y'all didn't hear that? Y'all heard stuff you're familiar with, right? If you're a male, did you hear a female voice? If you're a female, did you hear a male voice? So it's something you're familiar with here, right? You didn't have you heard something like, I want you to do. That'd be some serious problems, wouldn't it? But believe it or not, that's how people are admitted to the funny house. Admitted to mental wards and stuff, because they don't hear these voices the same way we do. They're hearing them like that, on that type of a level. And they don't know what to do with it because nobody wants to do deliverance. Nobody wants to be proactive in deliverance. Does that make sense? So we have to know the meaning of voices, the purpose of a voice, because you think about it. Your voice, you're so familiar with it, but you never would think that a voice that speaks like you has any intentions of harming you, do you? Or setting you up, or controlling you in any way, shape, fashion, or form. And still it does. Have you been working with your brothers and sisters, and then all of a sudden a negative thought comes into your mind, and you're like, man, they ain't done nothing. What in the world? What is this? And did you catch it? Did you do something about it? Did you give attention to it? Or did you just let it go on by? You see, we're too passive in this generation today. We're not active on God. We're way, way too passive, and we let too much stuff go by, especially in the spiritual realm. Because remember, it's with our mind that we actually fight this battle right here. Now, have you ever done this before? You had a thought, and then you're walking down the road, or you're doing something, you're going, what the hell? Where that come from? Or then you look around. Well, today it's kind of hard to tell that people is actually responding to thoughts or not, because everybody has these communication devices and they're talking. So a lot of times people are hiding behind these voices. They're walking, they're talking, but there ain't no earthing in the ear. You got to pay attention to it. These devils are trying to actually make everybody go stark raving mad. They want total control. Total control in everything, in every aspect. But if you become sober-minded, and you be vigilant in being sober-minded, pretty soon you get to the point, like, is there even a warfare at all? And there still is a warfare. It's just that the devil has done increased his game. He done made it hard for you to collaborate on this position. And so now, he's more like what he's doing now is trying to control and manipulate people by impulses or desires, or using a type of communication without force of breath. Are you following? Without force of breath. And it's almost like a knowing now, or what the spirit realm wants you to know. And so don't think that that's not a form of communication as well, because it is, because you can feel it. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, but you can feel it. You know when it's right, you know when it's wrong. So you always have to be proactive, and you cannot allow yourself to be passive and slide and allow one thing to go by, next thing another communication go by, next thing another one goes by. Now you're not even fighting at all. And then, what does the book say? If there's ever any wars, is there ever any fightings among us, it comes all because of your own lust. Isn't that right? So next thing you know, you get irritable with people, and you don't even know why you're being irritable with them. And the reason why you're being irritable with them because you didn't do nothing about the thought. See what I mean? You get passive and stuff, you get short. You don't even know why you get short, because you fail to be active in spiritual warfare. And so there's all these little small contentions, these little bitty foxes that come to try to destroy the vine and stuff. It's because we're not staying on the cutting edge like we should. Y'all listen. Come on, Sarah. You can only, I like this thing right here. Make this. It's fancy. Is that fancy? All right. You and only you can discern the meaning of your thoughts. Nobody else can tell you what that meaning is. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are good thoughts, but they very rare. You notice how the devil speaks a whole lot more than the Holy Spirit does? And when the Ruach does speak, you almost have to have your spirit so still that you have to be able to listen to him, because you don't, you're going to miss it. Still, small voice. Still, small voice. And what it does is, it actually is testing your level of spiritual sobriety. How in tune or how intact you are with the Most High. Now, some of you have been out when we go on meetings and stuff, when we're not in communities and we go out to different meetings and stuff. Y'all been there, right? And y'all see me all of a sudden put on a totally different hat, turn totally different way, minister totally different than when I'm at the hub or when I'm at the communities. Totally different. And the reason being is because I have a whole bunch of people there, and I don't know what vein or what spirits are going to be around, because these are brand new people, don't know these people, right? So I have to actually really truly hone in the spirit and pay attention in the spirit realm to the audience and see what's going on. A lot of times you'll see me have a message, what I believe to be pre-planned, is ready to go and give, and then you'll see me shift in the middle of it. Y'all ever seen that before? You'll see me shift in the middle of it, because we have to be in tune with the Spirit in order for the Most High God to be able to operate and do what He wants to be done for His people at that particular time. And somebody could come in and change the whole order of things. One person could come in with some experience, change the whole entire message. But you can't be so dogmatic or so dogmatic that you're going to be, okay, this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen, and become very mechanical. You follow me? So you have to be in tune with the Spirit to be able to minister at any given time whenever there's a change to take place. And the way you become that way is become sober-minded. Sober-minded. Because while I'm up here preaching and teaching and stuff, there's still communication that's going on. So I have to be not only keenly aware of what's being said, but I have to be keenly aware of what's going on in the spirit of my mind. How many times you ever heard me at these meetings and stuff I preach and teach, and all of a sudden a thought come to your mind, and the next thing you know, I repeat the exact same thing that just hit you. You see what I mean? And then all of a sudden, how the hell did you know that? What you talking about? And I thought, man, what the world is going on? It's a war. It's a war. So it's like with anything. If you exercise spiritual discernment, if you exercise your mind spiritually, if you're only going to get what? Stronger or what? Weaker. But if you're exercising, you're more likely going to get what? Stronger. And so to be strong in the Messiah with the power of His might, in the power of His might. And His power and His strength wasn't physically the way that we equate power and strength today. So we have got to make sure that we are spending a lot of time in paying attention to the communication highway. And then when the highway seems like it's shut down and nothing is going on, then we have to pay attention even more so to impulses. I'm probably redundant saying this because, somebody said it takes 33 times to mention something before. I said that's 33 hard heads, though. That means people are really truly not listening. But stay active. Always stay proactive. So the meaning of thoughts has an intent. What is the purpose of it? What is it trying to accomplish or not accomplish? Anybody ever heard a thought when you want to do something, or you should be doing something, but you don't do it? And then you say, well, you can wait a little bit later on to do that. And you know you need to do it right then and there. And then you obey that thought. You know you should have done it. Now watch this. Whomsoever you yield your member servants to obey, that's whose servants you are. So who are you really truly serving? You see what I mean? Because if you're righteous, you're going to serve righteousness. If you're unrighteous, you're going to serve unrighteousness. righteousness. And mind, you can't serve two masters. You can only have one. Are you following? This is how meticulous this is. This is how seriously involved this stuff is right here. This is very, very serious. So you'll find that the majority of the people that keep up a lot of conflict is people who don't do anything about the communication highway of the mind. These are the ones that cause the most troubling problems. A lot of times, have you ever experienced someone trying to communicate a pain, trying to communicate a feeling, but they do not know how to communicate, and they come off very harsh, but you really truly are not in tune with what's being said because you're paying more attention to the action or the silhouette that you see portraying something as opposed to what's really truly being said. Some people have communication when they're communicating, and it seems very negative that they're really truly trying to ask for help. But you got to be discerning. Well, there was some time ago, a lady, old mother we had in the assembly called Granny Gaston. Some of y'all, any of y'all ever met her before? Most of them Freeman did. All right, she goes to Oakland, Granny Gaston. So one day she was in the kitchen, and Tomoko, their culture, Tomoko is a Japanese sister, and they're very passive in their culture. I mean, nothing really bothers them or shakes them at all. And sometimes you have to wonder if they're even there or not. You understand what I mean? That's how passive and docile that they are. And so she would, to Granny Gaston, it seems like there was something going on with her that she would purposely try to do something to hurt her or perturb her. But that wasn't her intent to actually do it. That's just the way that she is. Are you following? And because Granny Gaston couldn't control the actual thoughts that would keep coming to her mind, and she would at times voice and correct her. But she had gotten to the breaking point, and she just screamed. It was really loud in the kitchen. I mean, just she had no recourse but just to scream. Because that's how much Tomoko was getting on her nerves. Not because of anything she was saying, but because of what she wasn't doing, and at times what she was doing. And so I walked into the kitchen, looked at her real quick, sit back and observe what the hell's going on. I go, look at this. Granny, can you come here for a second, please? What you got going on? I said, so when you gonna figure you? How's it that you can lose so much self-control that you have to scream out at a sister and stuff? Let's just go ahead and get to the nitty-gritty of what's really going on. What are you not doing in the spirit of your mind? Never even thought about it like that, Pastor. That's probably the problem. You never even thought about it. So every time somebody does something, if they do or they don't do anything, if it doesn't meet your conditions or your standard or something like that, so you scream. Is that your answer? You just scream out in the middle. Or if they're not hearing your correction or rebuke, or you lose self-control and just lash out that way, or I can only imagine what other way you probably do it. What other way you do it. And she knew that I was probing her. You know what I mean? I'm trying to assess her to find out what the world is really truly going on. Come to find out, Granny Gaston been in church all these years and stuff and never ever became active in the spirit of her mind. Everything she normally has always been done has been controlled by these spirits. A religious spirit. A worldly spirit. Making her think that she's actually doing something right when she was flat out wrong. Making her perceive that her sister was an enemy when her sister wasn't an enemy. It was the thoughts that was her enemy. That was causing the sister to be an enemy, because it's better to go ahead and communicate it rather than just assume that someone is this way. I mean, communicate. That's what makes successful marriages, successful brotherhoods, successful sisterhoods, successful communities, successful families. Communication, exchange of flow of information. So we got to know the meaning of thoughts, because we don't know the meaning of the thoughts or meaning of the voice, anything. They know our meaning, they know how. It was in our opportune time to misuse you and abuse you. Come on. Temptation. is when you are tempted to act out the nature or the nature of the natural man or woman. Remember, that's a verse in Scripture says that the wrath of man does not work the righteousness of God. So how many times we get mad, angry, upset, and we think that because we're angry, upset, because it says be angry, you know what? Sin not. So we use that as a protection. It is well, I'm mad, I'm upset, but as long as I'm not sinning. Well, who says you're not sinning? Because what is God going to judge when he judges us? Is he going to judge the action, or is he going to judge the what? Thought and the intent, which is what we need to focus on more than anything. What was the purpose and the reason? You follow me? So when we get up and we're sitting up there in front of the courts of Shemaiah, and we all going to be judged. Something may look like it was wrong, but y'all's going to judge the intent of the reason why something was done. Are you following me? So they're going to judge the thoughts and the intent of the heart, because the heart is what controls the actions or the inactions of man. All right? Read on. Read on. Entice, allure, beguile, tricked, deceived. All of this takes place. All right here. Every bit of it. So, do you know whenever you're being enticed, if so, what does it feel like? What type of communication comes that causes you to be enticed? If you're being allured in a certain way, what type of manipulation is taking place? If you're being beguiled or being deceived, are you following? And this, all these last three right here, this basically is what Yahweh is doing. This is basically what Yahweh is doing, because what he's doing, he's coming in the vein as if he's an Israelite, but he's really under a cloak of being something else. So they're sporting themselves while they feast with you in our feast of charity, but they're feasting and they're sporting themselves to their own destruction. And so in this generation, people are not used to actually people getting in a civil setting and then actually calling somebody out when they're a real devil. I mean, who likes to be called the devil? You understand what I mean? You remember when Yahshua was calling Peter the devil? He said, "You get behind me, Satan." You know? I mean, has Satan never spoke out of any of you towards one of your brothers and sisters? But you didn't ever call him the devil? Did you? So when I say, man, ain't nothing personal, it's just that you're full of a devil. You got a demon in you. And that demon is doing all of this. And that's how the devil is. Come on. Proverbs 14:30 says, hey, what kind of heart? Now, how do you know if your heart is sound or not? Because it's beating. Maybe it's slowed down. I don't know. Look at some of y'all face. Maybe your heart ain't beating at all. I mean, how do you know if your heart is sound? You know your heart is sound when your mind is silent. A storm could be going on, but then you still have peace in the midst of the storm. Last Sabbath, some of the brothers was asking me, they said, okay, if you're in a conflict or something like, or if it's a very stressful environment, they said, how do you usually respond and react? And I said, well, everybody's different. Greg probably can answer this one as well. If you're ever up under a lot of stress, and you know you have the ability to get upset, you understand what I mean? First thing you do is try to calm yourself, temperate yourself. Are you following? So that you don't allow your emotions to take over and to run. Are you following? My child will tell you, they be doing shit and I be all mad and upset and stuff, and rather than last night, I usually just get and very short with my answer, but I'm fighting them back. They're not trying to intentionally trying to upset me. Are you following? It could be something going on in me, the reason why I'm getting upset. You understand what I mean? They ain't doing nothing. So let me just practice some self-control here, get control, before I start trying to make everybody else guilty of my inability to not be able to have control. We like deflecting like that, don't we? Because we always like looking good. Isn't that right, son? We like looking good and making everybody else wrong. That doesn't mean you're wrong all the time. But some people would take advantage and go the other way. And see, you were wrong last time, you're wrong this time too. And you were wrong the last time before that. And you were wrong the last time before that too. And the time before that too. This almost sounds like mental gymnastics, don't it? It is a serious war. It is a serious war. What does the word say? The weapons of our warfare are not what? Hard as ye suppose, but they're mighty through Yah to the pulling down of strongholds. Casting down every imagination and every thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And then bring that thought into obedience. Bring it captive, bring it into obedience. Isn't that right? Oh, look at these instructions. Sometimes we read, oh, they don't sound good. They're good, nice little cliches. Man, it sounds so good. And then we get our rear ends beat. Left and right. You follow me? So they've got to become more than just quotations that are on the pages of the book. They've got to become in the living testimony. And then the people have got to see the manifestation of it. And so you can tell how mature or immature someone is by either the amount of control, self-control they have, or the lack of self-control. And that's not systemic all the way across the board. You can't just say that somebody's irritable in this area right here, they have no self-control. That's just an area they need to work on and perfect and bring it on up. Instead of just concentrating always on the strengths, just bring up the weaknesses so we can have a perfect balance. Is that right? So a sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy is a what? Now, who would ever associate envy with rotten bones? Are you following? Anytime I'm always dealing with people and they tell me about all these in the medical profession, they got all kind of crazy, anyway, let's just say bone problems, right? And I always tell them, you don't have a bone problem, you got this problem. Now, they will tell you that you got all these medical issues and troubles and stuff, but all your medical issues and troubles stem from this spiritual problem right here. So if you take care of this, then more likely this will get taken care of. That makes sense? The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man do what? The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man do what? All right, so last week I was called in, Diane. It's not doing good. Sister Diane, don't do it, right? Heart rate really slow, right? Really, just not enough pressure. Blood pump. Like I'm getting really weak, winded to step from here to there. And then, of course, I'm looking thinking, okay. Y'all understand? And if I see somebody hurting and stuff, I get it. I would love to go and just go out there and just start ministering it, healing it, delivering it, doing whatever the Father says. But I'm also at the mercy of authority. The book says, if there's any sick among you, let them do what? Call for the elders of the assembly. Is that right? But if you don't call for me, I can't come. Does that make sense? If you don't call, I can't come because I can't go past your authority as the priest of your home. Does that make sense? Y'all see me use Marcel? Anyway, I finally got called on. I went up there and laid hands on there and she's doing help out there. A few Sabbaths ago when I was using Mike and Marcel as an example, I'm like, man, this woman run around like a broken transformer. She literally did every step. And I asked the question, how long has she been like that? Oh, that's just tabernacle. Not to me. You know why? Because now my attention is drawn to it. You know what I'm saying? Now my attention is drawn to it. Wait, husband, oh, I prayed for her. Okay. What happened, righteous man? Did it avail? You get it? I'm glad you prayed for her, so that's the end of it. Since you prayed for her, y'all get it? There's no hit against your headship or authority, nothing like that. We're in a kingdom battle here. We have to get to the point where we're using all available tools to us. No matter who or where. Are you following? figured out here who gets more answers and more response from Shemaim than the next person? You do, you need to start using him for your benefit. That's part of the Bible. You know, right? I mean, which one of you sisters can't cook? See, do you want her cooking? She says she can't cook. So what we gonna do? Okay, Pastor, now this family coming up, so guess what? You're in charge, you cooking. You gonna put her up to cook? You wouldn't even eat her food. Is that making sense? So, same thing with this. Don't put up somebody who ain't getting no answers and got no authority just because they have a head problem. Are you following? Put up the best one for the job. Or two. Or three. Maybe four of you together can really truly get it going. One can put up. Two can put up. Somebody need to be running. Isn't that right? So anyway, she's doing a whole lot better. Somebody said that that wasn't even one of y'all, right? They said that her lips is starting to come back a little bit. Marcella? Is it? You notice it? All right, now let's deal with that for a second. I know we're here, but we're still on point. So, everybody saw her get totally healed and delivered, right? Saw the Spirit. So if it's starting to come back a little bit, then what is the trouble? Anybody know? Well, since you don't know, I'm glad that everybody is experts in here. Y'all got it. All right, anybody know? All right, so if you already done prayed for something, you done did something, you done seen the miracle, the healing, the deliverance, whatever took place, and then all of a sudden it started to slowly come back again. That means somewhere in our life we didn't make the necessary changes that we needed to make in order to make sure that this doesn't come back on us again. Does that make sense? What have we ignored? So a lot of times we want the healing, a lot of times we want the deliverance, but we don't want to change. Isn't that right? We want everybody to focus on and pay so much attention to I need to be healed, I need to be delivered, I need to be set free, but nobody's focusing on it. When an unclean spirit is thrown out of a man, he walked through what? Dry places, seeking rest, don't find none. He said, I'm going to return to my house, implying ownership. Isn't that right? Coming by the empty swept and garments, leaves, brings 7 more other spirits more wicked than him, returns, and the last state of that man or woman is what? Worse than thee. So, if you start to see something, slowly start going another way, instead of always focusing on the healing and deliverance, we need to be focusing on the change that we need to be doing in order to maintain the healing, the deliverance. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. I can't tell you how many times that happens. People get delivered and turn right back. No change at all. They want to be delivered, want to be set free, but don't want to change. Are you following? So we got to find out and do an investigation. At least the priest of the home hit reels to find out, okay, we need to be paying attention. That's the changes taking place. We saw her walking right down, all of a sudden it's making a turn. What's going on? So we need to focus. We need to focus. Y'all get this? All right. But envy is dropping this to the bottom. Go ahead. Envy. Zeal. Jealous disposition of husband or man. About let my heart be sound in your statutes. Your statutes. Oh, what I'm talking about written to, they talking about a statute in the corner of the Catholic Church either. All right? Your statutes that I be not ashamed. Come on. What is the statute? Something prescribed. It's an action, a task, an enactment, a decree. In other words, instead of just saying off the edge of your lips, I'm an Israelite, you got a life you have to act out. You got a life you have to live out. And there must be change that everybody can recognize, especially you yourself. Come on. My son, fear you, Yahweh, and Look here. And meddle not with them that are given to. Let's do this for a second. Let's say I live here on the land. And then I see leave for a whole week. Hey, brother, how you doing, man? Oh, good. Go away for a week, come back in. Hey, me, how you doing? I'm all right. Hey, man, what happened to you? Ain't nothing out there. What's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Oh, brother, I ain't about to bless you, brother. Yeah, bless you too. Man, come on, sir. Oh, y'all devil that before? Sir. And you do what? Oh, let my son fear you. Y'all let the king and meddle not with them that are given. You don't never know what environment you're getting ready to engage in when you, and then you get gunshot. Rather than actually going to the brother, I'll just wait till you come to me. Because I mean, going to get my head bit off. I mean, damn, the first time I met her, hey, it's all up next to me. What the? You ever done it before? You ain't never done it, but that person next to you is done it. They do it all the time, bro. All the time. You don't ever know who you're going to be able to deal with. You never know what person you're going to be talking to. Could be a spirit. Could be that person. Y'all ever dealt with that before? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all ever dealt with that before? Woo! Boy! Y'all got it worse than Straitway, don't you? What's that thing I accused Straitway of a few Sabbaths ago? A slumber, a spirit of slumber. I was like, man, Georgia, they down there ripping the walls apart and praising y'all in the mess, y'all. How y'all know? Y'all all right? Y'all's good? Glory to the King. That's about the most movie you get. Glory to the King. Uh-oh. Taking on some spirits, eh? That's all right. Read, come on, go to the next slide. Change. One who repeats the same behavior. If you already been admonished and reproved over behavior and need to be corrected and stuff, and yet you still continue to keep repeating the same behavior, then guess what? You are given a change. You now have a spirit in you. You ain't even in control of yourself. If the wind blows, you may do like I seen a person do 20 years ago, cuss the wind out for blowing. People get pretty passive. People get pretty passive. See, one who repeats the same behavior, do again to disguise oneself. In other words, you see, you ever come up to them and go through the motions, hey, brother, hey. You go, what the hell is that? But you don't tell me. You go, oh, that ain't, hold on. You know what I mean? So now they're disguising the behavior. Because I know that if I say something, they're going to, reverse psychology, accuse me of being given a chance. That's what they're going to do. So instead of me saying something, it's going to disguise. See how wise the devil is to do evil? He wise to do evil, ain't he? Uh-oh. So who the devil did? And then, don't call him devil, though. Do the second time. Come on. A double-minded man is unstable in some ways. A few ways. All in ways. All these are. That means everything. Sir. Come on. He that goes about as a tell him, man, what does he do? No secret. Therefore, there's a word again. Meddle not with him that do what? Flatter his lips. Come on. Talebearer. What is a talebearer? A scandal monger. A what? A scandal monger. A what? Slanderer. talebearer knowing that what you're going to be associated with is being a scandal monger? How many times talebearing takes place in the body though? How many times does it? How many times slander takes place? In the body. You know, we love our brother and our sister. Come on, next. Secrets. So, a person closing deliberation by implication, intimacy, secret, counsel, whisperers. There are no secrets, no whisperers, no backbiters, no haters of God. Come on. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. Is of great understanding. Is of great understanding. See, so Pastor Dowell slow to wrath, so I'm a great understanding. When people see me actually going off on somebody, all of a sudden, well, he ain't so slow to wrath. No, you just don't get it. I'm a great understanding. You should be a great understanding. One day you may reach and achieve my level. While I'm still working on it. But he that is hasty of spirit, they exalt. They esteem Father. Come on. Look at this word Father. Silly of one who despises wisdom. This is not being ingested. That's someone who is sin, who despises wisdom. One who mocks when what? You've ever heard? Wow. Who never? Go back to slide. So he that slow to wrath is a great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit, notice. Hasty of spirit. Hasty of spirit. Hasty of spirit. Hasty spirit. Exalted. A hasty spirit, someone exalts the Father. Now go back to the definition again. Silly, one who despises wisdom. Ain't gonna listen. Don't even want to hear it. I ain't gonna change. One who mocks when given. One who is quarrelsome. Next. So, many of us, or many of you are not aware that Satan has his demons whispering in your ears. You know when he shows up on anything? When you correct it. Come on. Because remember, the book says correction is grievous unto them that do what? You get corrected. First devil shows up as the devil. He that lickety split. A lot of times the person is doing a correction can't even finish the sentence before it's already communicated. And you are sitting there acting like you're listening, but you ain't listening. Because you got another form of communication telling you how right you are. And if they only understood you, then your intent, they wouldn't be talking to you that way. Everybody all right? Ain't no spirits getting ready to manifest. Come on. You've been listening to the voice for so long, you actually think it's you doing the thinking. Being sober-minded. Your mind tends to wander, causing you to become unfocused or distracted. Sad part about this is trying to help someone that does not want it. And such are some of you. Many Israelites are spiritually immature. Hasty spirit, exalted Father. Come on. To be spiritually minded is life. What does that mean to be spiritually minded? Come on. To be able to discern, to have the ability to perceive, to be able to see afar off. Perception. You can see with the spiritual eyes and still have your natural eyes, and your natural eyes can't even see what the world's going on, but spiritually you can perceive from afar off what's getting ready to happen, what's getting ready to take place, or what's going on. Come on. To be attentive, to be aware, to see with the eyes of the Spirit, to have perception. Romans 8:6. To be carnally minded is death. But to be spiritually minded is what? It's amazing how many people think that to be carnally minded, it puts them in a mind of utopia. You know, you're tiptoeing through the tulips. You're all at peace because you're not even involved in the warfare. That's the thing. Because I'm serious, a lot of people don't want to engage in spiritual warfare because there's too much pressure in the mind. It's too much pressure. But if you don't, that carnal mind, that natural mind, it is what? Death. But to be spiritual mind is life and peace. Someone said, I ain't got no peace. Well, you keep going until you get it. Because, I mean, what you call peace ain't no really peace. That's destruction. Come on. You're not about anyone to point out your brothers or sisters' so-called character flaws as a means to get you to stop fellowshipping with them. You heard that? We all stand in need of prayer, don't we? No? Come on. Come on, Sammy. Go ahead and get that Galatians 4:13 through 16. Good.
Ye know.
Everybody do all right? Yes. All right, come on.
Ye know how through infirmity of the flesh I preached the gospel unto you at the first. And my temptation which was in my flesh ye despised not, nor rejected, but received me as an angel of Elohim, even as Christ Jesus.
Now, I love bringing this out and talking about this over and over. I do. So, all right, so Brother Dan is the leader here, right? Is that right? Yes, sir. What if y'all knew that there was some type of temptation or character flaw that he had, that he's struggling to fight with? Is he still the leader? Yes, sir. But I mean, it's easy to say that and give that right answer. But what if you continue to keep seeing that same old character flaw, day in and day out? Will it not affect your perception? Will it not affect the way that you normally see them or judge? Read on.
Where is then the blessedness ye spake of? For I bear you record that if it had been possible, you would have plucked out your own eyes and have given it to me. I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth.
Now, have you ever noticed whenever you're trying to correct someone, is that they're too busy insulating and defending themselves from correction, that they turn around and try to point a finger at you and try to show you where you're wrong at, and you're not in a position, therefore you're not in a position to correct me, because this is what I know about you. That's what Paul is talking about right here. So he ended up becoming people's enemy because he ended up telling them the truth. And these people didn't want to be corrected. He said, there's some of you out there, you even know this, you know my infirmity and stuff, that if it's possible, you would pluck out your own eyes and give it to them. You the good people. But you upside over here, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? And y'all seen it. Y'all tried to minister to your family before? Try to minister to friends? Did you become the enemy? Was you lying to them? And you people said, just tell me the truth. I don't want to know the truth. You tell them the truth and you end up becoming what? Enemies. Amazing. That's the reason why you need to be separate. Separate. Come on. Infirmity, weakness, sickness, want of strength, weakness, infirmity of the body. That's native or not. Native weakness. Is that not even native? Native weakness or frailty, feebleness, or health. Come on. Capacity to require, understand a thing, to do things, greatly glorious, restraining, corrupt desires, to bear trials and troubles. Come on. That's a lot of it. Keep going. Temptation. Temptation. Attempt. Trial. Proving. Made by you, made by the body, condition to serve. A test as to test the love of the Galatians towards Paul. Come on. A trial, a man's fidelity, integrity, or virtue. Keep going. Fidelity, faithfulness to a person, cause, or belief. Now, who was that? Now, I answered that on, I think it was last week's broadcast, right? Was it last week's broadcast? If somebody asked me the question, you don't have to follow no man, you don't have to serve no man. Michael Israel's broadcast. There was a question in there. And the Paul being a positive, people wouldn't follow him. The people ought to see this boxing. Don't you have to submit yourself one to another for you? Don't you have to pay them to have a rule? We can always do that in the world, but when all of a sudden we come to the assembly, we got nobody involved in it. Nobody's the head, nobody's broke. Most I can't set it up. So, fidelity, cause and belief demonstrated by continual loyalty and support. Continual loyalty and support. Continual loyalty and support. I always check people to see, everybody like talking. I weigh my judgment on people by not what they say, but by what they do or don't do. Don't do is also not doing. Right, Bob? Most people, yeah. How many of y'all know about brothers and sisters around here that when certain people come around, then all of a sudden, man, they got pep in their step, they work really good. And then when that certain authority figure, somebody gone, all of a sudden they drag you back down. You ever seen those ladies playing hypocrites before? You ever seen them before? Boom, they around, man. When they're around, oh, wait, man, they get it in. What's a good work? Look at that, man. As soon as they gone, go on, sit down. Take a siesta, coasting, shouting. Can't see them. Drag the job down, take it forever. Job that normally would take an hour, takes all day long. Y'all ain't got that problem here. Not Straitway Goshen. It sure is quiet. And it's quiet. It's quiet. Some of y'all afraid to say yeah because y'all may incriminate something like that. Yeah, I know. I actually point to people in the church. I said, he's the one just like that. Him like that. That's a snitch game. I'm on point. We are brothers keepers, so we snitch on them. My brothers at Straitway, they are so hilarious that we got a job going on. All of a sudden they'll go, man, it's amazing the energy that brother got all of a sudden. That brother, man, he got all kind of energy. Boy, where was it at 10 minutes ago? Ain't that love? Yes, sir. Ain't that love? Come on. Allegiance, obedience, homage, devotion, and commitment. All of these virtues need to be in each and every single one of us, especially going to be in the community, especially going to be in the ministry. You have to be a man or woman of integrity. Come on. Temptation, conditions of things in the mental state by which we are enticed to sin or elapse from the faith and holiness. Come on. Adversity, affliction, and trouble. Whoever equate, I always put a lot of emphasis on that, but whoever equate that temptation is also when adversity is in your life. Whenever affliction is there or trouble is coming. I usually put a lot of emphasis on that because people don't put emphasis on that. Because that is part of temptation. And notice, could be sent by y'all. Often said, oh, don't open it. If you have things that you've been praying for y'all to help out and correct and instruct you in your life and you don't get it, or you ignore it, don't worry about it, it's coming back around again. It's going to keep on coming back around. It's going to come back around until you get it. You know why? Because aren't you not the Father's children? And don't the Father chasing his children? What kind of Father is he if he don't chase his children? So he's going to chase us, right? And we know he's going to use the rod of the Spirit to chase us, don't he? He do. He actually uses demons and devils to chase us too. Come on. Rebel against God by which his power and justice are, as it were, put to the proof, and challenged to show themselves. Kind of like a car they could appear and all that. Read on. Temptation is yielding the thoughts placed into your mind. That's good temptation. That's bad temptation. All right, Chris, what we eat today? What we eat, Chris? Food, chicken. Chicken, rice, and carrot. Who like chicken? Everybody likes chicken. It's diverse, isn't it? Not that you're going to follow y'all keep. You can be anti-chicken. Everybody like chicken, right? Everybody like chicken, but not chicken that she can't cook. You don't mind me telling everybody you can't cook, right? I mean, after all, you said it first. You get mad and upset at me because you already told me, you already let the guy out of the bag. That's agreed. Hallelujah. And what we eat for dessert?
Yellow cake.
That's a temptation. That's a good temptation. Come on. Verse 21. Oh, you know this one. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to do what? Read on. And David said unto Joab and the rulers of the people, go and number Israel from Beersheba even unto Dan, and bring the number of them to me that I may know it. Come on. Now we know the story, right? Keep going past these slides right here. So, the Bible says that Satan is the one who stood up against Israel. But who did Satan use to stand against Israel? Who? David. So, David actually had a devil in him too. He was still king of Israel, but he still had a devil in him. And that devil used him to provoke the Most High Yah to number the people. Even had a friend, close companion, even warned him. Joab said, look, you don't be doing this thing. You even know better, but he usurped him by authority. You don't do this, right? Well, now the authority came and spoke. I'm going to give you three choices. Three things. For what? Submitting yourself to the devil. You thought it was just you because you can, but you actually submitted to Satan. The thought or the temptation of the thought. You get that? So you can be in authority, you can be a king, you can still be submitted to Satan in that particular area. Y'all pray for those in authority because look what Moses did. He ended up smoking Israel based on the choice and decision and authority people made. Usually authority, they would rather throw themselves on the sword than to have all the people to suffer from them submitting to Satan. That makes sense? So y'all better pray for David. He makes some good choices because it could affect all of y'all. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Come on. All right, Yahweh will judge his people. So listen, Israel, judgments against us is a sign to the nations that are Yahweh's business. I mean, we hear it all the time. The white man, white man, white man, white man, white man, white man. Do y'all know that there was a thing called the Arab slave trade too? Why are we talking about them all the time? I guess we don't need to be talking about them since we've been on that war for the last 20 years then up. But their captivity was a hell of a lot more atrocious than what was done over here. And I'm not diminishing it by any way, shape, fashion, form. What I'm saying is that Yah always have used nations to whoop his people when they were disobedient. He also, in the law, gave them restrictions, even though they're not subject to the law, on how far you should go in your discipline. But they went farther than that. That's why all these judgments is coming. And they're coming hard too. As a matter of fact, you can't see America's already on the judgment. We are following the exact to the T, step by step. The same way that Rome declined is happening right before our very eyes. Most people can't see it because they don't know about history. But when you see history being repeated again and again, you're like, what you gonna do? Those people didn't experience that history. They're in the midst of making history. So they can read that off, they can ignore it. That doesn't mean that's what we are, because of what we have today. And what we do, repeat the same exact mistakes. Same exact mistakes. And when we repeat those mistakes, as a nation, y'all do know that China's going to end up being the #1 world superpower, right? And that means there won't be no churches on corners no more. That means all of us, if we're still alive, we won't really truly get a chance to put our faith to the test. Because right now, we don't even need shining to make sure that there ain't no churches on corners or people are anti-Messiah or anti-Christ. All you gotta do is look at our society. All you gotta do, look at all the churches now, open up the doors and let homosexual women, homosexual men get in the pulpit and preach and stuff, and Bruce Jenner get up there. I can't wait to have a conversation with God and ask him why he made me this. What? Why you blaming him? See, isn't it amazing that how all the people they pick and choose that they're going to put up and question and stuff? And believe it, a lot of these networks and all these, they know about me, but they don't want me on their camera. You know why? He'll go off script. All of a sudden you can see one of them station identification breaks like they do with Biden. Put the straight up balls. It's ugly. Read it, let's go ahead. So let's know. Keep going. We already know about that. We're gonna make it. All right. Imagine a mischief against a man. Trouble, wickedness, sorrow, and iniquity. Keep going. Psalm 62 verse 1. Truly my soul waiteth upon Yah. From him cometh my salvation, my deliverance, my savior. Come on. He only is my rock and my deliverance, my savior. He is my deliverance, my savior. I shall not be greatly moved. Come on. How long will you imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall ye be, as a tottering fence. Fence ain't even stable. It's there, but it can't really do its job. Come on. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. This sounds like that people are confederate in making a personal attack against somebody or someone. They delight in, they bless when they're, but they curse inwardly. Why does anybody put any emphasis on this cursing? People always want to get over, I ain't cursing, preach that or that. I ain't never cursed nobody. That sounds crazy, though. I never cursed nobody. I've been tempted to. You know the reason why I don't curse nobody? Because I don't want no curses coming on me. I kind of like living without curses, if you don't mind. You know, I like that peace stuff. Now, I don't mind sitting back cursing. Don't tell me I'm cursing somebody when I'm hey, you ever get a bill in the mail? They a big gigantic bill, you don't want to pay it? And you tell me to put down return receipt? What's wrong with that? I return the receipt, man. I don't do it. Pay that bill. Ain't that real? All right. Next one. Curse. Slight, trifling, small, vile, extreme, light, be insignificant, to make despicable, to treat with contempt, to bring dishonor. Now, if you cursing the devil, that doesn't apply. It's talking about brothers and sisters, right? Right? This is the way I'm going to be at that meeting. Y'all get the inside track. I'm going to be just like this at that debate. Don't be out with the devil. I'm telling Fred, not perfect. Ain't not perfect. It's going to seem like it's perfect. But I'm after spirit. Y'all hear me? Come on. You can speak within yourself, and your thoughts can be revealed. Read on. Now, come on, Samuel. Mr. Alexander Sporty.
And he entered into a ship and passed over.
That boy got a good point. We're going to get him to what they call that? Transcribe. When you're saying narrate the Bible. Narrate the Bible. He's like, man, y'all trying to put more on me. Go ahead, sir.
And came into his own city.
Look at that. Shoot, man, that make you want to put the CD in and just listen all day. Come on.
And behold, they brought to him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Jesus, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, thy sins be forgiven thee. And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves.
What they saying that?
Within themselves.
How many times you do that communication? You don't ever talk within yourself? Come on.
This man blasphemed. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said,
Lord, what?
Their thoughts.
And that's something. Here's the one that made you. You think you can just not move your mouth, and he can't hear all and everything is going on. But see, since they've been receiving as such, they mean it. You know, I do that a lot of times during service, especially down there. I do a lot of times, especially in meetings and stuff, man. I'll be preaching, and all of a sudden I'll answer a spirit that's already talking to somebody's mind. Then I'll look at them. See, y'all still all looking this way, but you don't know. That spirit just got in this corner of you. Y'all ain't never seen me do this? Yeah. That's a lot going on. That's a lot going on. It's fun too. It's hilarious. Come on.
Wherefore think ye evil in your hearts.
Why you think evil in your what?
Hearts.
But you just imagined this. You just said this in your own self. But he says this is where the evil is from. It's coming from. It's originating right in your heart. The mouth is connected with your heart, including the mouth that don't even move. The thoughts. Heart. See the association? Read on.
For whether it is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk. But that he may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Then saith he to the sick of the palsy, arise, take up thy bed, and go into thine house.
Now to us, this sounds like a good old story, don't it? No. The Pharisees, they knew exactly what he was saying. Because there's only one that can forgive sins. That's right. And he's saying, so that you can know that the Son of Man has power on earth to what? Forgive. And the more he talked, the more heated and steamed the Pharisees would get. They were a whole lot more passionate out there. If I'm trying to reignite that passion and stuff. That's why when he put his foot in his mouth and says, oh, I'll debate anyone I want. I'm somebody. Talk to me. Good. We come. Isn't that good? Man, people, we need to go ahead and have it fast. No, we don't. We're doing it in good time. They want to go ahead and get it over fast because he don't want all this information coming out. All this information. Just because I tell you, or just because somebody say that the lotus flower is God's favorite flower, that doesn't make it so. Just because somebody say it. Just because somebody give you an answer, that doesn't mean that that answer is a truthful answer. Isn't that right? They just gave you an answer. Today, we take every answer, hook, line, and sinker, just assume that that is the answer to the question. Somebody makes a statement, we assume it's true just because they made it. So Pastor now already exposed and told everybody that man's a Hindu. Now guess what everybody does? All the Hebrew community jumps the gun, they get out there, and they all go search out on himself and find out that he is really truly a Hindu. Not only is he Hindu, he's all these different Eastern religions. Every single one. Full of all these signs and wonders, peace to the gods and peace to the earth. And I said, damn, the more you talk, the more revealed. It's going to be hollering through the house of God. No, it's going to be hollering through the house. I said, listen to this damn shiner. Listen to him. Got it. But see, that's my job doing expose stuff like that. Just because I expose it don't mean that y'all pull out your AR and start shooting the shit out of stuff. That day's coming, though. Read on.
And he arose and departed to his house. But when the multitude saw it, they marveled, and glorified Yah, which had given such power unto men.
Now let's don't get past this. Let's really truly put emphasis on this. Check this out. One good way, which you already know, but sometimes we let it slip, to make sure that people get healed, is to make sure their sins are forgiven. When the sins are forgiven, that means the Most High is now, he don't have nothing hindering him to come in and perform what he wants to perform. Sometimes people want deliverance and healing, say it again, emphasis added, but they don't want to stop their sinning. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it both ways. You got to meet the conditions. Are you following this? I mean, I was going up there after I was called to pray for Diane. I asked her if she wanted to live. She says, I'm fine. You know what that means, right? I pretty much done gave up. So I kept asking more questions and more questions. In other words, whenever you're praying for someone, if you're going to be praying for someone, it's good to sit down and have a counseling session so you know what direction to go. Because if she's going to have that kind of, I keep asking questions, stuff, I got to see what else I can discover before I start putting my words together to make a petition to the Most High. Does that make sense? Because I'm just not going to come to him any old kind of way. Are you following me? I need this prayer to be, it needs to be on point. Are you following me? In other words, whenever you're making a petition to the Most High God, get out of this stuff and just going through the motions. You better be very careful about how you approach the throne, how you approach him, and the way you speak to him. Because you're talking to him. And you're asking a petition of him, so you have to be careful. I mean, what are you going to do? You're just going to sashay on up in the room? Hey, Pops, I'm here. Give me this. What? Hold on. Hold on. See, that's what America's done to us, though. America's done made us so undisciplined. We just talk to anybody any old kind of way. Sass anybody. Just totally undisciplined. I mean, have no respect for nobody, not even our own self. That's America, boy. I told you now, America, I'm still telling you, frog men tell you, it's still the greatest country in the world to live. And if it's the greatest country, that means everybody else ain't no damn good then. Because we ain't no good. They tell us we're free. Look what they're doing out here with these vaccines. Forced and he calls it. Oh. How many people gonna get jabbed in the NFL, huh? They come to their paycheck. Oh, I got a newfound revelation. Study says. How many people? And then if you don't get a jab, now the people who was actually working on the front lines when COVID was running rampant, they didn't have no vaccine. They didn't have no vaccination. Now all of a sudden they want to try to force them to take the vaccination, or they don't get a job. They don't get to stay on their job. So let me see. Before they even had a vaccine, they were putting themselves at risk with all these people, take care of them. But now all of a sudden you want to force them to take the vaccine. If they don't, then they're going to get paid or they're going to get fired. I do it all the time. Man, I can take care of all these. This one, I can solve this whole epidemic for everybody in America. And all their little rules. They gonna make a mask mandate. Nobody going to work for 6 months. So they're gonna tell the nurses and the doctors and all them, you must get a jab. All of them walk off the job. You think the government will change their minds then? I guarantee you'll see how much of a pandemic or epidemic it is. It really ain't one then. If the people just stand and see, that's why I keep telling us as a country, we don't know how to protest. My daughter, when she was in college, she said, we're going to protest. I said, really? Y'all going to tell me what y'all do during this protest. But we're going to go to march. Really? I said, I can do that right out front door. So what y'all want to accomplish? We're going to make our voice heard. I said, really? What about the next day? Y'all know how to protest. I want to teach y'all to protest. You want to protest? Y'all do that for 6 months. You want to protest? Nobody go to school for 6 months and then tell everybody that's trying to come to their school making a picket line that they don't pay the tuition. That's how you protest. If you want to protest high gas prices, be content. Stay at home. Don't go to work. Don't go buy gas. That's protest. That's protest you can believe in. Y'all get it? People don't know how to protest. They ain't got the stomach for it. So these nurses and doctors, and they all just walk out of the hospitals. Leave all the sick folk and let them die. You gotta help. Hey, you gotta create, you gotta have, what's the word I'm looking for? What's that word I'm looking for? Famous word is at the edge of my head. Mortality rate. You're gonna have to have it anyway. So they want you, they say you're free, but they want you to take this shot in your arm. And they want you to keep on doing it, keep on doing it. And I just heard coming up here that if you receive, they call us, you know what they think about it, herd immunity, cattle mentality, herd immunity. They said, oh, that's good for 6 months. Well, how long is the shot? Well, the shot can be good for up to maybe a year. So does that mean you gotta go back and get a booster? That's what they said. The experts said that. There's the Delta variant. Anybody ever heard how many deaths is coming because of the Delta variant? See, it went from how many people was dying to now how many people reported having COVID. Guess what? COVID came, no more flu, no more cold, no more nothing. I mean, even if you die in a car wreck, COVID. Everything's COVID. Everything. If I even sneeze the word COVID, they will strike on my cap. They start practicing medicine or doing some type of violating guidelines. You know what I mean? Somebody else get out there, they keep on going. I got a homosexual, a foul homosexuality up on YouTube. A foul homosexual. Where we at? How'd they get off on that? Come on, Sam. You finished? Oh, that's it? No, man, that can't be it. What time is it? I've been up here an hour and 30 minutes. That don't seem like it. Does that seem like y'all? What we gonna do? All right, hallelujah, let's think. Most of y'all, we can thank you for all things. We thank you for everything that's entered into our hearts and our minds here today. We can only hope that by the power of your spirit, the power of your might, Father, that you will continue to open up our understanding, that we can bring about a performance, a fight against this enemy, bring about some resolve here in the kingdom, to strengthen the minds of your people. We ask that the Holy Spirit to minister, not only here today, but throughout the day and the weeks and the months and the years to keep us on the cutting edge of this warfare. We thank you for the blood. And we thank you because our names are written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. We thank you for the sacrifice and always being mindful of us. Let the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart, accept on thy sight. O Yah, my strength, my redeemer.